In A tier, we have weapons that do what B tier weapons do, but way better, or their evolutions improves the weapon by a lot. Fires a rocket that pulls enemies in and explodes, dealing 16 burn damage, having a chance to inflict burn using 6 energy. Its Evo now unlocks a special button. Charge and aim at the location and fire a massive rocket. Damage and number of explosions scales with charge time. Then multiple suck-in effects appear inward, and followed by explosions that deal 12 damage each. Then a massive explosion that deals 50 damage, and has a 10-second cooldown. This weapon has a pull-in effect allowing to have a high chance to deal area damage, but its Evo carries this weapon. The multiple explosions is enough to clear a whole wave, but struggles to deal massive damage against bosses, and requires you to wait for cooldown and charge for you to use it. But it's a very good pair with Assassin's third skill. Fires an arrow that deals 12 damage and explodes, dealing 12 damage, having a chance to deal burn damage, consuming for energy. With Evo, its basic attacks can now deal additional explosions, dealing 6 damage each. You also unlock a special button. When used, increases chance of additional explosions and weapon attack speed. You will have to kill enemies with it to charge this special ability. This crossbow gives massive value when your shots counts. Its explosion mechanic allows you to hit multiple enemies with one arrow, and this Evo upgrades it by a lot, dealing additional area and instant damage, but still lacks in defensive properties. In its first mode, you throw 3 daggers dealing 12 damage each, consuming 9 energy in total, and takes 1 second to reload. When the daggers touches an enemy, there will a purple explosion dealing 12 area damage. Having a chance to spawn a skeleton bowman, only 3 can exist at a time. Switch to second mode. Tapping the button makes you perform slash attacks that deal 12 damage. Hold and release. You perform to slash attacks followed with a stab attack, dealing 12 damage each. The stab attack also creates a purple blasts afterwards, dealing 12 damage. Having a chance to spawn a skeleton swordsman, and only 3 can exist at a time. Its Evo unlocks an extra button, and requires you to kill enemies to charge it. Using the button throws a single dagger that creates a dark portal when it hits an obstacle or enemy. The portal can pull enemies inward, dealing 3 damage for 8 seconds. The portal also spawns 3 bow or sword skeletons depending on the weapon mode, and while the gate is open, defeating enemies will summon elite sword or bow skeletons, as well as enhancing the weapon, making the first mode to only cost 6 energy in total and reloads back faster, while second mode has a larger attack and does not require charging. This weapon relies on the skeleton it spawns to provide defense and additional offense, and having 2 modes allows for it to block and destroy bullets, but due to its smaller area of attack, it's still very risky when you are in a swarm of bullets, and the portal is very useful against crowds of enemies, but terrible against bosses, especially in higher levels. It is good at dealing with crowds, but somewhat okay against bosses. Shoots out a continuous rainbow laser beam, dealing 6 damage, consuming 1 energy. Attacking for a while will increase its damage up to 9 damage over 4 seconds, and the lasers bounce once. The reflected laser initially deals 3 damage but increases up to 4 damage instead, and have a chance to stun. Its Evo absorbs the souls of defeated enemies, and unleashes for different elemental beams all at once, but uses for energy, sweeping the whole map with its radiance. This mode lasts for 5 seconds, and when it collects a new soul, its attack animation will restart. So it is advisable that you collect a soul before quickly going into a boss fight. This Evo makes this weapon extremely good at killing everything in its sight. All it needs is 1 kill and chaos ensues. It's the ultimate definition of killing everything before they can kill you, but is pretty bad against bosses. despite that its normal attacks deal decent damage and can still be pretty helpful. Rapidly fires 3 lasers all at once, dealing 4 damage each, using 3 energy. Each kill has a chance to spawn a turret. Only 3 may exist at a time. You will have to stand within the circle to activate the turrets. Activated turrets shoots 3 bullets rapidly if you are holding this weapon. But if you are holding any other weapon, the turrets will only shoot 1 bullet rapidly. Its Evo increases turret summon limit, size, activation radius, and base damage from 3 to 4, and unlocks an extra button. Use it and all turrets will be activated. This laser weapon has one of the highest DPS weapons in the game, allowing you to deal high amounts of piercing damage against foes, and its turrets enables this weapon to have excellent crowd control. Against bosses, it still performs well due to its impressive DPS and energy conservation. It can deal massive amounts of damage to bosses without using too much energy. Fire a continuous laser that deals 3 damage, and gradually increases up to 7 damage over 4 seconds, without using any energy, having a chance to freeze enemies. Your movement speed also increases when using this weapon. With its Evo, when the laser continuously damages enemies, flying fish will appear and attack enemies, shooting lasers that deal 3 damage and having a chance to freeze as well. There could only be 4 fishes at a time, after 3 seconds of not attacking or not damaging enemies. The fishes will drop and can be picked up, randomly restoring armor, health, or energy. The amount of damage it could deal for 0 energy, and its speed buff feels illegal. You can constantly keep using this weapon to maintain its cap damage without any consequences, and its Evo now enhances this weapon, giving it more fishes that are very effective to deal damage and freeze. But it doesn't have much defensive properties other than its fishes and freezing ability. Initially fires a green ball that deals 6 damage and 3 explosion damage, holding down and constantly fire. This weapon upgrades and fires additional 5 green bullets that deal 3 damage each every time you attack, and can deal poison damage on crit. A Titan Arum will spawn while you attack, and attack enemies dealing 5 damage, and deactivates when their health turns red. Only 4 can exist at a time. Its Evo now unlocks a special attack that unleashes a giant chomping plant that deals 15 damage in its path but can't destroy projectiles, and can bounce unlimited amount of times, and has a cooldown of 12 seconds. The chomping plant only bounce once if you get this buff, so don't take it. And now on crit hits triggers a Cannibal Plant that deals 10 damage to nearby enemies and destroy bullets near it. This weapon is able to spawn Titan Arums to help you block bullets and deal additional damage. This weapon's Evo greatly improves this weapon's offensive capabilities. Its crit hits now enables it to use offense to provide defense, and the new special attack launches a chomping plant that provides consistent damage at far range without consuming any energy, but still its defensive abilities are still lacking. Tap the attack button and slash, dealing 10, 11, or 12 damage. Charging it increases damage of slash. Charge it full. Enables you to release a massive shockwave that deal 30 damage using 20 energy, going through any obstacles and destroying projectiles and dealing damage to anything in its path. This weapon is good at clearing out waves of enemies, but is pretty bad at dealing sufficient damage to bosses. You are most likely to waste all your energy before being able to finish off the boss. This is where the Evo comes in. You unlock a special button. You charge up this button and aim at your target. You stand still and become invulnerable, releasing a massive laser that deals 14 damage per tick. It is enough to take out most of the health for certain bosses. Enough for you to use your shockwebs to finish off the boss. You will have to kill enemies to charge up the special button. Even though this Evo pretty much overcomes its weakness, but you have to aim the special attack at the right time. Otherwise, the boss can just move out of it and just finish you off. It can be paired with Berserker's second skill and Assassin's third skill. For Assassin's third skill, you have to use your other hand to press the skill button after you charged up the evolution, but is probably easier to do on PC. Make sure not to use Warlege's first skill on the shockwave, otherwise its damage will be cut down to 10 damage. This weapon has two modes. In its first mode, tap the attack button and the arrow deals 12 damage. Damage and crit chance scales with how much the weapon is charged. Charge it for 1.5 seconds and it can deal 24 damage, taking out most enemies in the game. Once the first fully charged arrow is released, the weapon automatically shoots out arrows that deal 24 damage every 1.2 seconds, but the player's movement speed is decreased while firing. In its second mode, the player moves slower while carrying this weapon. When you use it, you cannot move. Similar to the first mode, the first shot also takes 1.5 seconds to charge full, but after that the weapon auto-fires arrows every 0.6 seconds, dealing 24 damage. With the Evo, you can hold the attack button to generate a shield that blocks projectiles but disappear after 5 seconds. So you must recharge the weapon again to regenerate the shield. And the first mode generates a smaller shield than second mode. This weapon has been massively buffed by its Evo. Now you are a walking siege unit, being able to deal consistent damage without worrying about bullet swarms, and can shut down certain bosses. However, it is still vulnerable to certain attacks. Swing and deals for damage. This also summons a lightning strike that deals for damage and has a chance to stun. Charge this weapon and form a lightning storm around you, destroying every projectile in its path, and dealing 2 and 3 electric damage to enemies every 0.6 second. Crit can electrify targets, maintaining the storm drains to energy every 0.6 second, and increases movement speed. Releasing the charged weapon makes it spin and slash, shooting out 3 electric beams that deal 2 damage each in random directions. Crit can also stun enemies. The lightning strikes will spawn upon landing a hit that can chain to for nearby enemies, dealing the same damage as the attack that initiated it. Its Evo now unlocks a special button. Now you can throw a copy of this axe covered in lightning storm, destroying any projectile in its path, and deal 5 damage, as well as its storm dealing 2 damage and electrifying enemies, consuming 5 energy with a 6-second cooldown. If there is a swarm of bullets, just charge it up and clear everything up. The enemy is too far away, just throw your axe. There's a bunch of enemies. Charge up and swing. This weapon with its Evo makes it a deadly weapon, easily clearing out paths without using much energy. The extra movement speed buff allows you to quickly get close to enemies and deal damage. It's a pretty versatile weapon, but could not stun and shut down enemies as effectively as its counterpart. Fires a spread of 4 poops that deal 3 damage each and deal 6 damage explosion, that have a 20% chance to inflict stun. Combined with its high firing rate, can pretty much stun enemies forever, and decimate everything in sight. But just like Gatling gun, your movement speed slows down when you use this weapon. Its Evo now allows you to stack poops on the heads of enemies. Reaching full stacks of poop or killing enemies releases a poisonous cloud dealing 1 damage per tick. The size depends on how many stacks of poop is applied, even though its Evo is toilet water. This weapon's rapid fire and stun ability shuts down enemies, making it an excellent crowd control weapon, and has an extremely high DPS, easily dealing high amounts of damage over time against bosses. The ultimate definition of killing everything in sight. Perform 2 slashes that deal 8 damage, as well as releasing 5 electric beams that deal 4 damage, and 1 circular slash that deals 3 damage, and also releases 10 electric beams that also deal 4 damage, using 6 energy per attack. And all of these attacks can stun on crit. When a successful melee attack is done, it summons a lightning strike that deals damage according to the melee attack that initiated it, and have a chance to stun enemies. However, when you are out of energy, you will not be able to shoot out electric beams but can still summon lightning strikes. Its Evo also unlocks a special attack that costs 0 energy. When used, the sword turns into a claymore. This form lasts for 10 seconds. Every melee attack gains for additional damage and increased reach. All attacks can unleash a series of lightning bolts, and summon storm of lightning bolts that strike around you, dealing 3 area damage and inflicting electrify, and has a 15-second cooldown. With all those stuff, this weapon can constantly stun targets when you are close to them, and deal high amounts of damage, and its Evo form costs 0 energy, allowing you to deal high amounts of damage, and stun enemies even when you have 0 energy. This weapon is excellent in offense and defense, the ultimate S-tier weapon.